Most people think that they're wearing comfortable shoes for their bunions, but some of the most popular shoes are actually making them worse. They often feel fine at first. It's only after weeks or months that the pain starts to build. So in this video, I'm going to show you which shoes are quietly making your bunions worse, which ones actually reduce pressure and pain, and the one feature that matters more than anything else. Because once you know that, choosing the right shoe becomes really simple. I'm James, a foot and ankle specialist, and I've treated thousands of bunions in clinic. So the biggest issue that I see is toe compression. Shoes that look completely normal from the outside, but they're slowly squeezing the toes together. And over time, that pushes the big toe inward, which is exactly how bunions get worse. Now the tricky part is, this isn't just obvious bad shoes, it's often everyday shoes that people wear all the time. And one of the best examples of this is a classic flat shoe. Let me show you what I mean. If you look at a typical pointed flat, it narrows right at the front of the shoe. So even before you put your foot in, there's physically not enough space for your toes to sit naturally. Now compare that to a square toe flat. Straight away you can see the difference across the forefoot. And that one change can massively reduce pressure on the bunion. Now before we move on to walking shoes, this part of the video is sponsored by Cala Shoes. And the reason that I'm happy to work with them is because they're actually addressing that exact problem. Their shoes are specifically designed for people who have bunions. So instead of narrowing at the front, they have a naturally wider square-shaped toe box like the Alexa. They also use soft leather uppers, so the material stretches around the bunion rather than pressing into it. And really importantly, there's no seams on the inside of the shoe, which can rub off your bunion and cause friction, discomfort and blistering. So instead of the foot adapting to the shoe adapts to the foot, which is exactly what we want to see clinically. If you struggle to find everyday shoes that don't fit your bunion but still look good, then Cala Shoes is a really good option. I'll put a link to the Alexa shoe in the description alongside a link to their website. Now the same principle applies to walking shoes. Now the first shoe that I want to talk to you about is one of my favourite shoes that I recommend most often to people, and it's a lesser known brand, the Altra Experience Flow 3. Now one of the reasons that we love this is that it has an anatomical toe box. Now that's where the toe box is designed to fit the shape of your foot. It allows your toes to splay, facilitating a normal movement pattern when you walk or when you stand. It has a tight lockdown in the midfoot and the heel, so this is really important to think about. Often in females, they have a narrower heel and midfoot and a broader forefoot. This is perfect. However, some people have a wider foot overall, and that's not going to work well for them in the Altra. But where it works really well is for those of you who've been struggling by buying wide-fitting shoes, but don't need all that width in the heel and the midfoot, and the foot just moves around, and that can be just as bad for your bunion. Underneath the shoe with the Altra, you've got a very balanced cushioning, so you sink into it a little bit. It's really comfortable, but it's not a max cushion shoe. So if you are someone who's used to a max cushion shoe with a rocker bottom, you're going to have to transition slowly to the Altra. It's a very flexible shoe, promotes a natural movement. As I say, has a great lockdown, loads of space for your toes, nice cushioning, but it's certainly not a max cushion shoe. That's something to be aware of before you pick this up. However, once you get used to it, I think it's one of the best walking shoes on the market. Then, if you're looking for a similar design, but a little bit more cushion underfoot, we've got the Topo Atmos. Now, there is a Topo Atmos 2, but I think the original one did an excellent job at covering all the key bases that you need for a bunion. For instance, we've got the same anatomical toe box that we have on the Altra, but you've got more volume in the toe box, so it's a little bit higher for those of you with bigger feet or who find that their bunion rubs off the top of a shoe. You'll get more space in the Atmos. It has a little bit more space in the midfoot and the heel, although it's not wide throughout the back of the shoe, so it's similar fit compared to the Altra, just a little bit more volume in the shoe throughout. Then when it comes to the cushioning, you've got more bulk underneath your foot, a little bit more protection. It's also really stiff in the forefoot, so those of you who have a painful bunion may benefit from having a stiffer and slightly rockered forefoot that reduces the load underneath your big toe joint. The Altra is more designed and recommended for those of you who have a bunion that's pain-free, that's got plenty of flexibility, or you're someone who's apprehensive about getting a bunion in the future because maybe there's a family link in there. An excellent option to give you more cushioning, better protection under the ball of the foot for those of you who have symptomatic or painful bunions and you need more space in the toe box. Then a completely contrasting shoe is the Hoka Gaviota 6. Now the Gaviota 5 bucked the trend in Hoka, who typically have a very tapered toe box, making it less ideal for bunions. However, with the Gaviota 5 and 6, they've got a wide toe box that facilitates lots of space for your toes display, a slightly wider fit in the midfoot and the heel than what we see in the Altra and the Topo, and it's more of a max cushion, max stability shoe. However, it doesn't provide that arch support that some people might be interested in. It provides a H frame that runs alongside the outside of the shoe and the inner aspect to provide torsional stability and rigidity without pushing up into the arch of your foot. So if you're someone who struggles with pronation moments, who has a flatter foot and a bunion, and you need that extra element of support, the Gaviota 6 is an excellent option. It is deceptively firm underfoot despite it being a max cushion. Now we know most Hoka shoes are known for being really soft and cloud-like underneath your foot. Well, that's not the case with the Gaviota. The H-frame provides extra elements of stability underneath your foot, making it very rigid, relatively firm, but lots of protection, so it's very stiff in the forefoot. You've got your classic metal rocker, which reduces the pressure under your forefoot, makes it easy to push through the big toe without requiring it to bend further, which can be painful for a lot of people with bunions. An excellent option overall, slightly lower in terms of volume than we might like. However, we've got another shoe that's going to cover that base for you that I'll talk about in a minute. It's a slightly heavier shoe than the Altra and the Topo, but you're getting a lot more protection in terms of cushioning and stiffness and the rocker in there. So an excellent max cushion shoe. It's linked in the description below if you want to check out the latest price on it. Then we have the Brooks Ghost Max 3, just one of my all-time favorite shoes. It's a max cushion shoe, but it's not too soft, not too firm. It just strikes the balance right in the middle. It's what we call a classic neutral shoe, but has stability elements to it, so it keeps you centered in the shoe as you move, without having any form of rigid arch support. It is wide throughout the whole length of the shoe, so if you have a wide foot and a bunion and need that extra element of protection in there, the Ghost Max 3 is perfect. It has a gentle rocker to reduce the pressure on the big toe joint. It's really stiff, and it's the most orthotic friendly shoe on the market, so it covers all your bases. If you have orthotics, flatter foot, or pronation control problems, you've got covered in this as well. If you've got a generally wide foot, this is an excellent option. But if you're one of those people with a narrow heel and midfoot, you might find that it's a little bit too wide in the back end of the shoe. So it gives you a nice contrast from the other options that we talked about. It can be used for standing or for walking for long periods of time. Alternatively, like the Hoka, if you wanted an easy running shoe, a shoe for doing some daily miles in, this can cover your base as well. So it's quite a versatile option overall. So just to recap on the key features you're looking for rather than the shoes. Think about what foot shape you have. Are you narrow at the heel or wide throughout the whole shoe? Do you need high volume or just a wide toe box? Do you need stiffness underneath the forefoot so it's hard to bend the shoe? That gives you extra protection if you've got a painful bunion. Or do you have a genetic bunion that's quite flexible that you just don't want to get worse aesthetically? Well, then you can get away with a more natural movement like in the Altra. But if you need that extra protection, you might think of more of a max cushion shoe. If you're looking for a more fashionable option like flats that accommodate a bunion and a really high quality product, think about Cala shoes. It's not only flats that they do, they also do heels, they do lifestyle shoes. I'm going to cover them a lot over the next couple of months as I think they're a really good high quality brand, and Jennifer, who owns the company, is someone who suffers from bunions as well, so she really knows what type of quality and what type of shoe you need to make in order to facilitate a more fashionable shoe. We don't generally recommend high heels to patients, however we understand that some people need them for some occasions, and Cala cover that as well. Now if you're interested in getting more updates on bunion shoes that have been released, we've got monthly newsletter that covers these topics that you can sign up to in the description below. Otherwise, if you have any questions on them, please drop them in the comment section below. Keep in mind I can't give you specific medical advice, but I can try and gently point you in the right direction. And finally, if you're new to the channel or you watch us regularly and you haven't subscribed, please do, as it makes a significant difference to the channel, and thank you very much for watching.